Welcome to this PCR Edu Online. My name is Emanuele Barbato and I'm an interventional cardiologist at the University of Naples in Italy. I'm here today to share very exciting updates about one of the tools that is currently present in our cath labs and that will become, in my opinion, more and more important in the future. I refer to the rotablator system. This is a device that you might already be familiar with, and it is in fact the currently available rotablator system, the so-called legacy. Let me just remind you what are the three key features of the rotablator system before moving to the new iteration of this device. So the rotablator system is composed by the console, by the advancer, by the pedal. These are the three main parts of this device. Now, what was the reason why we had to change the current system to the new one? Well, basically to make the job easier of both the operator that will be more and more able with the new system that is called ROTAPRO to do this procedure on his own without the help of assistant at the cath lab table, and to make the job easier also for the cath lab staff. In fact, all the issues related to the connection of all these cables with the console will be overcome in the new system because there will be no way to make mistakes given the fact that all the ports here below have been significantly changed. In addition, what has been changed as compared to the current system with the ROTAPRO is this piece that has disappeared. So there is no need anymore to have the pedal in the cath lab. Everything will be on the cath lab table at the control of the operator. If you're interested to know more features about this system, you can always refer to the available video that are on the PCR Edu Online. But now let's move on to the new system, the ROTAPRO system that is here. You can immediately see some major differences. First of all, as I said, the pedal has disappeared in the new system, and has disappeared simply because all that the pedal did has been now put on the advancer. The knob that you see here and that you're already familiar with, it is the same knob that is used to push forward and pull back the advancer, has now been reached by this blue button on the top. If you click or de-click on the blue button here, you will activate and deactivate the motion of the rotor. How to move from rotablator mode to Dynaglide mode? Well, there is this new function now on the advancer, this button here, that if it is clicked, will switch from rotablator mode to Dynaglide mode. If we are in rotablator mode, by pushing on this button, we will activate the rotor and we can perform our run of rotablation. Once we are finished, we click again on this, and only then the motion of the bar will stop. So let's remember this important feature. It is not like in the old version that we lifted up the foot and the motion of the rotablator would stop. In this case, we have to remember that we have to click again on the button to stop the rotablator motion. Let's move now to the Dynaglide mode. We click on this button. We are now ready to activate the motion of the system of the rotor in Dynaglide mode, but we won't do this by pushing on this button again. We have now a new button on this side of the advancer that will be used when pushing on it only to activate the Dynaglide mode. On the opposite side, we have also this button here, which is to be used to release the brake. So you can immediately see that it is much easier to move the rotor in Dynaglide mode and release at the same time the brake, as the two buttons have been put at the opposite side of the advancer. So by pushing the two together, we can easily pull back the device from the coronary artery and from the guiding catheter. As I mentioned before, the connection between the advancer and the console have been made much easier for the cath lab staff. And if we just look at the advancer, we can see that there is no way we can make mistakes in doing the connection, as the port for the cables have been made so different and so unique that anyone can do this connection without mistakes. The console is much nicer, and it is much easier to be read. There are lots of information on the console that we will see in a minute when we move to the model. But I can immediately tell you that these information that are provided will inform the operator on the current rotablation speed, will inform whether we are in Dynaglide mode or in rotablator mode, will inform on the duration of each run of rotational atherectomy, much like will inform on the total duration of the procedure. Last but not least, visual colored signal will pop up during the procedure, informing the operator on how the speed of the rotational atherectomy is decelerating. Very key information for an operator that in this way is informed on the possible risk of bar trapping or lodging within the coronary artery. We are ready now to start our procedure. Let's set up the system step by step. Here I have with me a completely new Rotablator Pro. The console is just on the pole. Please notice the fact that this console can be either used on a car, so placing it horizontally, or can be used on a pole, placing it vertically. So the screen that we will switch on now will just turn the information such that can be read on a vertical position as well. Just for your information, I'll let you see what is behind the console. Here we have the cable for the electricity and the tube for the gas. The tube for the gas should be connected, much like the old system, to the medical gas within the hospital or to a tank with nitrogen and oxygen. We are now ready to unpack the ROTAPRO. Let's do that together. There we go. This is our system, ready to be connected. Our bar. Please notice that the bar has not changed. This part of the Rotablator Pro has not changed as compared to the old system. That is actually the reason why the whole rotablation protocol has not changed, and all the recommendations that we shared together within the consensus document just apply also to this system. Please pay notice to this clamp. It's a very important piece that will be particularly useful for the cath lab staff in order to connect this part and to stabilize this plastic tube to the towel that is present on the cath lab table, like this. Try to straighten all these cables, these plastic tables, before starting. This will be particularly important and will facilitate the work of the operator. Try to avoid that these cables are flipped like this, because otherwise, in the very moment we start doing the rotablation, you will see that you will have troubles in advancing your knob. While if these cables are unfolded, advancing the knob will be much easier. Let's do now the connection of the ROTAPRO system with the console. As I said before, this is very easily done and it is very difficult to make mistake. Let's start from the fiber optics here that we can connect at this level. Then we have, second in line, the electricity cable. Normally there is an arrow here, so arrow to arrow. That is done. And as a third, we have the pneumatic tube where gas is passing by. That is connected at this level. Now all the connection is done. We are ready to do the last connection, which is the connection with the cocktail. that, as you know, it might be composed by saline, heparin, calcium antagonist. There are different variants, but you can know about this more if you look at the video on PCR Edu online. So normally, the saline should be under pressure. So it is always good practice to check what is the pressure within the bag here. It should be around or above 100 millimeters mercury. I see that it is slightly below. Let's just put it up a bit. Yeah, now it's ready. Let's connect the saline to the tube here. And let's open the infusion. At this moment, we should see saline dripping from the bar, as you can see here. There we go. We are ready now to test the rotablation. Please notice the speed on the console. As you notice, the speed that is preset from the factory, from the company, is already 160,000 RPM, which is actually the mostly recommended speed of rotablation that we use in our practice. Let's also test where the Dynaglide mode works. How do we do that? Very simply by pushing on this knob here. You will see that there is a small light that goes on, informing that we are not anymore in rotablator mode, but we are in Dynaglide mode. Remember what I said before, that to activate the Dynaglide mode, we don't push on this button. If we do that, nothing happens. You see? It's just a safety measure to avoid mistake. The only way to activate the Dynaglide mode, the motion in Dynaglide mode, is to push on this button here. Please look at the console. And what you will see on the console are two information. Dynaglide, so you know if you didn't realize this from the noise, but it's also written here. And secondly, the speed. I'll do that again in order to see together the speed. Between 65 and 70,000 revolutions per minute. Last check I always like to do is moving forward and backward the bar, just to make sure that everything works. I do that again in favor of the camera. Chuck, chuck. Remember, never do a test run outside the body of the patient with the ROTAPRO, but also with the old system actually, without the infusion going into the system. The risk is that we might burn the rotor even before starting. So this is very important to keep in mind. I think now we are ready to do a rotablator session within a model that we will show you in a minute. Let's switch back from the Dynaglide mode to the rotablator mode. Let's push again on this button here, and you will see that the Dynaglide signal has disappeared from the console. So once again, you're always informed on what you're doing in order to do a more controlled procedure. Let's start our rotablator session now. Everything is ready here on the table. What we have here is the plastic model. The bar is already in place, loaded on the wire, on the rota wire, the advancer, and the console. So let's release a bit the tension that we are accumulating while pushing up the bar on the wire within the coronary artery. So the thing that we have to remember is to push on this button. On the console, it will be highlighted that we are in Dynaglide mode. Much like we do when we want to release the pressure by pushing on the big pedal of the old system, we'll make a gentle push on this button here. Tension is released. We switch from the Dynaglide mode to the rotablator mode again. And we are ready to start our session, our rotablation session. I just unscrewed a little bit the button here. Please pay attention not only to the movement of the knob here, but also to the messages we receive from the console. Let's start. 152,000 RPM. As you have seen, there was a triangle, a yellow triangle that popped up during my session. What was that signal? Actually, what you will see on this new version of the console are these colored feedback informing you on how much the speed of rotablation is decelerating. When this yellow triangle is empty, means that the deceleration speed is between, so the amount of deceleration is between 5,000 and 10,000 RPM. When the triangle is filled, when there is a full triangle, as we have seen before, the deceleration is beyond 10,000 RPM. When you will see the red signal of stalling, means that the speed has gone down to 15 revolution per minute. And that is just warning you that the stall is about, that the bar is about to stalling. Let's do that again. Do not forget each time you complete your movement here to click again on the button. That's the only way you can stop on your rotablation. Let's do that together. Back to the starting position and push the knob again here. Otherwise, the bar will continue to spin. It's interesting to see now what happens within the plastic model. I will just repeat the same steps, but this time we'll focus more on what happens within the coronary artery, within the model of the coronary artery here. Please pay attention to the folding of the connection cables here. That is not the ideal situation when they are crossed each other. Ideally, they should be in this position, like this. This will facilitate your movement and the movement of the bar. If you do the same, but with the cables folded like this, you might feel more resistance in doing this movement. Let's do that properly. Try to straighten all the cables like this. Activate the rotablator mode and push on the button here. That is it. Now we are ready to pull back the bar from the coronary artery, from the guiding catheter. The steps are similar to the ones we followed with the old system. The rota wire is in my hand here, and I would like also to mention that if you know more details, if you want to know more details about the rota wire, you can always refer to the video that are on PCR Edu online, specifically dedicated to the features of the rota wire. But let's activate now the Dynaglide mode. We push on the button here. On the console, you will be informed that you are on a Dynaglide mode. And do not forget that all what you have to do is to push at the same time on the brake releaser here and on the button to activate the Dynaglide motion. Let's do that together. You just put the hand here in order to firmly grab the advancer, then push on the brake releaser, push on the button of the Dynaglide mode, and do your pullback. That is very simply done. Let's do another run of rotablation within the coronary artery. Everything is ready. Our bar is within the plastic model. Let's just focus on the plastic model now. Activate rotablation mode. If you see these two signals on the console, basically stall and check pressure, what does it mean practically? It means that either you have a leakage in the gas line that is connected to the rotablator system, or simply that the pressure provided to the system is just not sufficient. Remember, this should be a 7 bar. How to do then? How to fix this? Very simply. First, check that the tube is very well connected to the medical gas, or that there is enough pressure from the tank to the rotablator system. And of course, if you don't have enough pressure of your medical gas, then the bar will not be sufficiently pushed, and you can happen to see bar stalling, and that is why it is mentioned also here on the console. As you have seen, everything within the patient has just remained the same, so the rotablation procedure has not changed at all. All the recommendations of the consensus document, the good suggestions coming from the expert colleagues of the Euro 4C Club have just remained the same. What has changed is in the advancer, as we said before, and in the console. With this, I invite you to watch other videos and webinars that have been prepared for you on PCR Online, where you could see this new system being used during a real-life case.